Like sex is supposed to be intimacy, right? And so porn portrays intimacy, but it creates separation.
Yeah.
It sells intimacy, but delivers separation.
Take control of your life. Break the chains and rise. No more feeling powerless. No more shame. Take your power. Break out of the pain. Because it's more than fornication. More than procreation. It's not just self-stimulation. Sex energy is for creation and transformation into a new destination.
This is Porn Talk.
Porn Talk.
This is Porn Talk. Here is your host, Eric Zuzak.
Welcome to Porn Talk. This is Powerful Eric. This show is not just about breaking addictions. It's about breaking belief systems. We have another incredible chain breaker with us today, Steve McElmurry. Steve is a board-certified nurse coach and Maxwell Leadership Team member, known for his unique life experiences and ability to connect authentically. In this episode, we'll explore the unexpected benefits to pornography, how Steve's diverse background shapes his approach to this taboo topic, the power of failing forward in overcoming addiction, practical strategies for personal growth and communication. If you're ready to challenge your assumptions and gain new insights, this episode is a must listen. Subscribe now and join me, Powerful Eric, for a conversation that promises to be as enlightening as it is unforgettable. Help me welcome Steve McElmurry. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Let's jump right in. The benefits of pornography? What are you talking about? What are the benefits of pornography?
So I'm like everybody else, right? I don't want to talk about this thing. Like, why couldn't I have just been a meth addict, right? That's at least socially acceptable, or an alcoholic. That would have been better, maybe.
Yeah.
But so that title comes from, I wrote that title as a paper when I was in nursing school in a philosophy class, where we had to write about some big social issue, right? We can write about anything we want, except we cannot talk about gay rights, abortion, or gun control. Well, that's a bummer, because any one of those three would have been fun. And so I asked the instructor, like, okay, I've already picked something else, but like, why? So the reason was because those three topics are all overdone, and they're all just rehashed, right? Everybody's got the same argument, whatever. So like, okay, well, I've already picked something else anyway. But so he asked me what, and I said, I'm going to write about the benefits of pornography. And he wrote me back, like, in all capital letters. Like, what is that? Well, hopefully I get the paper done on time and you can read it. The first time I just told my wife I'm writing a paper. I didn't tell her about what, right? Just a paper, and I got to write about social issues, and I just downplayed it, right? Because I don't want to talk about this. And so I find myself in church. I'm in line for men's breakfast, and a friend of mine behind me, I happen to be standing behind one of the elders in church, and a friend of mine behind me said, "What are you doing in school?" "Well, I'm working on this paper right now." "Oh, what's the paper about? What are you calling it?" I'd never been asked that before. I'm like, well, I'm standing in church. I can either lie about it. That might not be healthy in church. Or I guess, okay, well, I'm going to tell you. And I wonder if I can eat breakfast before they kick me out. because, like, if I'm an alcoholic or one of those socially acceptable problems, right, then in the church we accept that. And we'll maybe pray for you or whatever.
Yeah.
Porn is nasty and dirty and shameful and all those things. And so you can't, like, if you're going to do that, you can't be at this church, like all that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, well, I'm writing a paper about the benefits of pornography. So the elder of the church, this is lots of years ago, he turned around so fast all these years later, he's still in a neck brace. So he spins around super fast. He's like, the benefits of pornography. Like, yeah, that's my paper. He's like, let me sum it up for you. There are none. And he spun back around and he's like, just in a huff about it. So I quoted him. So that's how I ended the paper. There are none. But so the purpose in doing that, like, a long time ago, long enough ago, it was a different life, I got to do some full contact fighting in California, which was super fun. And if you watch MMA now, like, we didn't do it for that event, but if you watch MMA now, then the fighters mock each other like the day before.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And that's a way of showing that I'm not afraid of you. And maybe something that I say will get under your skin and throw you off a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the game they play before they do the match. And that's kind of the title. Originally, when I started writing that paper, it was to set up a straw man just to burn him down. I did, as it turned, we'll get into porn, but I did find out there was a couple of social benefits to porn that I would not have expected otherwise. And so one of those is this video call. So the connection is that, let's suppose that, your wife and my wife know each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want your wife to see me going in the gas station, getting the magazine on the top shelf,
right?
In the black bag,
yeah.
Or going to that part of the video store when there used to be Blockbuster,
right?
Or going to that movie theater,
mm-hmm.
right? Or I'm a teacher in school, and like all these different things, right? I don't want people in my community to see me accessing my whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so that was a problem. It's a problem for me, the porn user, because now I can't get it. And it's a problem for the guy in California, the porn producer, because now he's not selling it.
Right.
So they're actually the ones who created this streaming technology, video-based technology.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
And so the benefit was, let's suppose that we're in a meeting, maybe let's go to church. And so I'm sitting in the pew, right? And you think that I'm looking at my Bible app. Oh no, I'm getting a hit. Right.
Yeah.
And so every week I go to a inpatient, or not inpatient, but residential drug rehab facility here in my town. I live in Western Minnesota, and we're working through a book called The 15 Laws of Growth, a Maxwell book called The 15 Laws of Growth. And so some of the guys have asked me, like, so what was your addiction? Well, I used to say that I didn't have one because I've never done coke and like all that other kind of stuff.
Right.
I haven't done that. So anyway, the guy asked me, just like, so I answered directly. That was the first time I ever answered directly. So my addiction was porn.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that was true. Like, I knew about it, right? But I had never talked about it. I'd never said it out loud.
Yeah.
And I'm also not going to talk about it because, I'm big, I'm strong. I've been a guy my whole life. I can beat this thing by myself. And I don't want you to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to talk about it. Well, the thing is that shame lives in the dark. And I was like I kept it in the dark, right? That's where it belongs. So shame lives in the dark. And the interesting thing about porn, so it portrays intimacy. Like, sex is supposed to be intimacy, right? And so porn portrays intimacy, but it creates separation.
Yeah.
It sells intimacy, but delivers separation.
Yeah.
My introduction to porn came when I was in 8th grade. That's when I was first introduced.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going on a hunting trip. So I was in Wisconsin at the time. I was 14. And at the time, I don't know what it is now, but at the time you could hunt by yourself without an adult at 14. So I'm out for my first time. I'm bow hunting with another kid in my class, and we both brought survival equipment that we would need. So we're in Madison, Wisconsin. I don't know how deep in the jungle that really is, but we brought, both of us independently brought survival gear, right?
Yeah.
And so mine was like an extra knife and socks and food and matches and like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He brought different stuff in his bag. He brought magazines that he had took from his dad. And as it turns out, for
Field and Stream?
no. I've since called them exercise magazines for the activity that it generates.
So his survival gear
Was
that
porn.
he brought was porn magazine.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep. He brought his porn magazines. Yep.
Oh,
So he
boy.
wasn't thinking survival, right? He's thinking 8th grade boy, I'm going to be in the woods by myself. Nobody will see.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want to do with porn, right?
Yeah.
I want to do this. Again, you think I'm in a meeting and I'm getting my hit, right?
Yeah.
So, because you can't see my screen.
Right.
And I'm going to be I'm going to guard my phone too.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get my phone because, I don't remember if I closed that tab, that kind of
Well,
thing.
what's funny is, after I call it coconuts 18 rather than I don't even want to give it any energy. If you'll figure it out after coconuts 18 happened, all the churches started streaming their services. And the irony of that is, like you were saying, one of the benefits of pornography was that they are the ones that really developed the streaming technology and pushed it forward.
Yep.
And here, all these churches and us, like right now, having this conversation. It's crazy.
Yep. Well, there's a Bible verse that says all things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to his purpose.
Yeah.
So, my buddy brings these porn magazines, his dad's stash of porn mags, right? And so we're sitting on a rotted log somewhere in the woods. And would you believe we didn't get any deer?
Little distraction.
Yeah. So we're like, I'm not even thinking about deer. And like, who knew? Naked women are exciting. I didn't know that before. I didn't understand what I was looking at. Like, I'm a 14-year-old boy, right? I don't understand what I'm looking at. I do know I shouldn't be looking at it. I do know, like, instinctively, I just know that I shouldn't be looking at it. And also, I didn't want to put it down. So I grew up with just basically rejection. I am rejected. I went through all my teenage years in different kinds of foster settings, went to 5 high schools in 2 different states. I'm always the outsider.
Wow.
Right? Until not that long ago, I had a different job or a different industry every 3 years. I'm always somewhere different. I live in western Minnesota now. This is the longest place I've ever lived in one house. In fact, I haven't even, so we've been here for 12 years. I haven't even been here for 12 years because I was a travel nurse. So my family lived here. I was always somewhere. So I've always been on the outside. And like if you're working with other professional men, you said like salesmen, I think we talked about, right? Or people that are just out in the field on their own.
Yeah.
That was me. And I'm ripe for like this kind of use, right? So what I found in porn, like I didn't have language for it. I didn't even try to put language on it initially, right? This is just a thing I do. But when I finally put language on it, what I found in porn is I found that I'm accepted. I'm wanted. In fact, I'm desired. I found that I was desired. And anybody that I looked at, in fact, all the people that I looked at, because there's a different one on every page, was always interested, was always willing. They didn't care none of those women that don't really look the way they look in the picture and don't really have the name that they said, none of them cared if I'd had a good day or if I felt like a failure that day.
Yeah.
Always they were like eager to be alone with me.
Yeah.
Pretending to be intimate.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's one of the big challenges. I know we're talking about the benefits, but one of the big challenge is that a man will decide to stay home and use porn rather than face going out into the real world and facing
Right.
rejection, like going to a bar, for example, and getting turned down.
Right. This is the first time I ran into this. I've got a patient. This is several years ago. I'm a brand new nurse, and I asked him, "What do you do all day?" Well, I don't have a job. Okay, so what do you do all day? Like, you do something. What do you do all day? He said, "I watch Netflix and jack off."
Wow.
So what else do you do? No, like that's what he does. That is a day for him. Right?
Yeah.
And like, how about going to get a job, man? And so well, you don't understand. I have depression, and I thought, of course, I can't challenge him too hard because he'll complain to the supervisors, and the supervisors don't support nurses, like they do not. But anyway, so like, it'll be bad customer service if I challenge him. But I'm like, I think I might know why you're depressed,
Yeah.
right? So anyway, but so for me, the same thing was true for me too. I didn't put it in that kind of language, and I wasn't doing the thing that like I always had to go to work if I wanted money. So I don't know how he was getting it, but still, he and I weren't that different. I wouldn't have admitted it. Well, anyway, so I don't know if they still say it, but they used to say that marijuana is the gateway drug, right? So I started with marijuana, and now pretty soon I'm doing heroin and fentanyl and whatever else.
Yeah.
But porn is the gateway drug. And so once you start looking at porn, this was my experience, once you start looking at porn, pretty soon, let's imagine if you had a kid and the kid just, learned to crawl, and pretty soon that's not good enough, so they learn to walk, and that's not good enough, they learn to run, right? And they want to do more stuff, so they end up on a tricycle or a big wheel. Like when I was a kid, it was a big wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's really cool, and look how fast I can go on the big wheel. But then I got a bicycle, I could go faster.
Yeah.
Then I got the training wheels off, I could go faster still, right? Then I got a car, now I ride a motorcycle, I can go faster, right? Porn is that way. So at first, porn is okay. Like the simple, I don't have a good word that wouldn't be super naughty, but anyway, the like beginning level porn that the other kid brought from his dad's stash, right? That was just simply pictures. And at first, that's, holy cow, that's way out there, the end of the envelope, right?
Yeah.
But before too long, then it progresses. And that's where a guy who's just a normal person finds himself looking at all kinds of weird things, or sometimes even things that are straight up illegal, that he never would have done before.
Mm-hmm.
And he got led there a little bit at a time, because if we just push you off in the deep end in the cold water, you'd be like, holy crap, that's cold, and you get out right away.
Yeah.
Right? But nope. Gets led to it a little bit at a time, right? So for me, I got inoculated against all things Christianity as a kid. And I'm in all these different homes in different states and everything. I have to go to church with whoever I happen to be staying with. So I got lots of different impressions on lots of different ways to talk about who is God, what does God think about you. And of course, like everybody else, especially children, we take what we're hearing about this mystical, invisible being that I've never actually seen, but he's got this great big book. I think it's called The Holy Book of Rules That You Never Follow. That's how it was for me. And we take that and then put it against, what do I see in the world around me? And what I saw in the world around me was there were church hymns being sung at home, but the singing was screaming, like high volume screaming, while pans were flying around the kitchen and cupboards were slamming.
Oh boy.
While singing Amazing Grace. I'm sorry, screaming Amazing Grace, right? That was a disconnect for me.
Yeah.
I love you while being choked or being hit with a belt buckle or just like other things. It was not super fun. So there was a disconnect for me. And always I am bad. What I got out of that is that God is always angry at me. The Bible says anybody should come, but God found out that I signed up and he's like, who let that guy in?
Hmm.
So it's not that I did things that were bad. It's not that I did things that were sin. It's that I am sin. I
Right.
am bad. Right.
Yeah. A common theme. In fact, I just heard this just the other day, talking with a new client. Common theme is I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, but Steve, for this first half here, let's go into some of the other benefits of pornography. So the first one was what the technology. Is that what you were trying to say, or?
Yeah, really, that title was just created to be facetious, like
Sure.
mocking your opponent.
Sure.
Right. That was it. I'd actually love to talk about this at a church because just the title would.
Oh yeah, yeah.
would be
And
super
well,
fun.
clearly though, there are benefits to pornography because people wouldn't be doing it over and
Because we
over,
do
and
it.
there wouldn't be
Yep.
millions of people
Yep.
addicted to it.
Um,
Dopamine.
So it's not. Yeah, dopamine's pretty strong, right? And so some benefits are, if you stretch the definition of the word, so not healthy benefits, but still we go to it. So what the benefits we're looking for are acceptance. I am enough. I am good enough. I do make you happy. Like I am, I don't know, like all those things, right? I am a stud. I'm good, right? So we're looking for that. We're looking for I'm powerful. We're looking for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to put out the effort or the energy that would be required in a relationship.
Yes.
Like the guy you mentioned, right? Well, I watch porn and I don't go to the bar because if I, said anything to a girl, what if she said no, right?
Yep.
And in porn, you don't get rejected.
Mm-hmm.
So at the strip bars, you get rejected. I've experienced that. So the strip bars were fun, and then I even progressed from there. And so what I found going to any of those places is that, like all those things, I am wanted, I am desired, they do like me, like all this kind of stuff, right? And that was true, as long as I had money.
Yeah, we like you, and there's a 3-drink minimum.
Yeah, right. Or as long as my dollar bills, like while I'm paying the dancer, right, then it's okay. Or I once spent 8 hours in a whorehouse. Spent my whole life not wanting to talk about that. So whether this will be published, but so I did, right? In fact, I wanted to be there so much that it cost enough money that I had to lie to the woman on the phone at Wells Fargo. That's where I was banking then. I had to lie to the woman on the phone about I have this car problem so that I can exceed my daily limit on my debit card to get the money out.
Mm.
I worked really hard to earn money at 23 or 24 cents a mile. I was an over-the-road truck driver then. That was a lot of miles, a lot of hours that I drove to give to, to not willingly, I mean eagerly gave to this woman I've never seen before, right?
Yes.
To get the benefit that I wanted. So we say that we want sex, but I don't think that's really true. What I wanted was all those other things. We express it through sex, but what I wanted was all those other things, and I had to pay for it.
Let me ask you this. If you were to translate the dollars and time into miles, like, you know what I mean? Like, you had to drive X amount of miles to earn the money to pay these women. How many miles do you think, I know this is a hard question to answer, but if you were to guesstimate, how many miles did you have to drive to feed this habit?
I think roughly 3,300.
3,300 miles?
Yeah, probably more than that because I just I didn't calculate the effect of taxes. So yeah, that was
3,300 miles. And if you were to convert that into time, how much time do you think that is about on the road?
well, the legal answer at that time was 10 hours a day. But, I don't know how much we have to stay toward legal. My logbook was a work of fiction. So lots of
Wow.
hours.
So 10 hours. Wow. 10 hours a day.
So roughly 600 miles a day would be 5-6 days. Maybe 7 if you include the effect of taxes. Yeah. 5-6 days worth of work. And I was in that place for 8 hours, but, I didn't spend 8 hours with that fake name woman. Right? That was maybe an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, that doesn't include the cost of that really expensive frozen pizza.
And of course, the mental cost, the physical cost, all that.
Are you struggling with porn or sex addiction? Then apply for a free strategy call with Eric today at powerfuleric.com.